So we're going to go right into Philadelphia student press. Jackson, where are you? Jackson Juzang. There you are. Amazing. So Jackson is going to come tell us about the Philadelphia Student Press Association, built and made by student journalists, how the Philadelphia Student Press Association turned its local collaborative infrastructure into a national model. And the man behind the curtain has the slides. All right, here's the clicker. Joe, are you going to time or do you want me to time?
I can time.
Okay. And Jackson, you can grab this if you want.
Thanks.
All right. Sorry about that.
Wow, very good.
All right, go. Floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing today? Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Yeah. So thanks for the intro, Steph. Really appreciative of you guys having me out here. My conversation is on being built and made by student journalists. I'm going to talk to you guys about my nonprofit that I found last year, Leadership, Infrastructure, and the Future of Student Journalism. Oh, there we go. Good stuff. Yeah. So just a little bit about myself. I'm Jackson Juzang. I'm a Haverford College senior, formerly the associate editor of the Haverford Clerk, our independent student newspaper. I'm the founder of my own multimedia company. My co-founder's over there. And my nonprofit, the Philadelphia Student Press Association, which I will get more into today. And some of my editorial and research experiences spans with a year of NBC Sports. There we go. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the problems I've seen persist in student journalism. I think probably one of the more important pillars we need for collaborative media. And some of the things I've been working with through the struggles of Haverford College's student newsroom. So these are the core pillars of problems I have, surveyed and spent a lot of time talking to and working with various student newsrooms across the city. Limited institutional accessibility. So every student newsroom and every university has its own various impact with resources. The Daily Pennsylvanian and Temple news are not going to be the same as Rutgers-Camden, Rowan University, CCP, Haverford, Bryn Mawr, Swarthmore, et cetera, et cetera. So how can we streamline access to these resources at scale? That was something that was very important to me early on in building the organization. Shrinking and inconsistent funding. Every student newsroom has various resources, and being able to streamline those opportunities. So I'll talk about the fact that some student newsrooms are their own independent nonprofits. Some of them are through the student engagement office. Some of them are through emergency funding through the president's office. Some is through one endowment, and so on and so on. So it consistently is just all over the place, and is something that no one can really, consistently rely upon. Weak pipelines beyond graduation. No one here thinks journalism is something you can stay in after being a student. I'm pretty sure that 75 to 80% of the student journalists I've talked to in the city are STEM majors. They're in poli-sci. They're in something finance. They have no recollection of journalism being something they can think will last in their life. And isolated campuses. I'm happy I'm at a collaborative media summit. No one outside of the student newsrooms I've worked with before I started the organization thought they could ever have communication or talk to each other or build relationships and collaborate. So it was about reframing student journalism for me. How am I going to make student journalism seem like a civic infrastructure? We just talked about capitalism. Student journalism is in a unique position to where they don't have to worry about capitalism. They have the opportunity to write the best stories and the stories that come to mind that really pertain to student life, that pertain to local communities. So it's how are we going to give them the resources and the structure to do that at the highest quality level? And there's no shared systems. There's lack of coordination. And like I said, local student journalism, same thing with Temple News. I think a lot of North Philadelphia residents rely on Temple News for coverage. Same thing with the Haverford Clerk. A lot of Ardmore residents would rely on the same thing, and so on and so on. So I started this nonprofit about a year ago. The Philadelphia Student Press Association serves as a coalition and a backbone infrastructure for all the student newsrooms in the city. We have 12 student newsroom members. The newsroom is the member, not the university, so it's completely independent. And we have our core pillars of opportunity, community, and resources and collaboration. I'll go into what some of those look like physically. Thanks. So the PSPA primarily focuses on providing educational workshops, networking opportunities. We have a financial allocation structure to where we receive some funds And then we're actually able to, use those funds accordingly. And student newsrooms can have a proposal structure where they can propose to use these funds for certain things to help uplift their own student newsrooms individually, and we can supply them the funds. And then collaborative reporting opportunities to where student newsrooms have the opportunity to capture the full cultural and civic life of Philadelphia, and to where they're able to get outside of the silos of their campuses. Like I said before, also we have 400 or really 900 plus student newsroom members now, because the Daily Pennsylvanian is a member. That takes up a lot of people. So we have an advisory board and executive committee. To be an advisory board member, you have to be a leader of your student newsroom, so an editor-in-chief or managing editor. And to be an executive committee member, there's no prerequisite for that, but those are the people who handle the day-to-day operations. So I have multiple people in those positions.
10 seconds.
Oh, thanks. And this is a blueprint. This is something I just created in Philadelphia. I've copyrighted the structure and made it adaptable across multiple cities. I just went to Harvard recently to give this presentation, and I had the pleasure of talking to the Harvard Crimson, to Columbia Spectator, among many other newsrooms in Southeast HBCUs, on how this can be adaptable to the needs of every city. Philadelphia has its own needs. New York City has more protest coverage, Washington, D.C. more political coverage, Baltimore more community coverage. So how can we cater to the needs of every other city? And all we need is people who are dedicated and willing to give up a lot of the time. I've created the structure, like I said, as to where this can be, something that doesn't need to rely on an individual's paychecks to have this work. So again, you guys can feel free to look up the nonprofit and to see how we function. And if you guys are from wherever you are in the country, I encourage you guys to call upon student leaders to build something like this. Thank you.
Great job. No, you did excellent. When I first talked to Jackson a few weeks ago, I was like, sir, you're going places. Thank you for being here. You're good. Awesome.